Sorry, Ashley wanted to take a break and tell me she's into fisting. All right. So September was a pretty difficult month for me, honestly. September to February is really challenging for me because I can't really hang out with any of my guy friends. They're into like watching like really hardcore gay porn. Not hardcore gay porn. What do you guys call it? Football. That's right. Football. My apologies. It's weird. Lost in translation. I'm not a fan of football. Actually, it's the number one reason why my friends are like constantly convinced that I'm gay. It's not the long hair or that I pee sitting down. It's the fact that I don't want to get together with them at bars that are filled with men and look at TV screens of men. And then all the men in the TV screens are grabbing other men in an attempt to get their balls. Okay, cool. A lot of football fans here. Now, if you didn't know anything about football, right, and you just hear it going on in the background, you hear the commentators, and you were to hear things like, oh, I don't know, penetrating deep into the tight end, chasing down a wide receiver, posting up hard against a fullback, maybe it's football, maybe it's hardcore gay porn, I don't know. Here's what I know about football. I know that they wear pads, that's fine, my sister wears pads, that's okay. I know that they shower together, I know that they get dressed together, undressed together, I know that if they celebrate, they slap each other's asses, that's a popular thing too. I know if they do really well and they get to the end zone, they just dance, they just dance like silly little geese, and then their friends join in. That's always good. They're not coordinated at all. There's no choreography going on there. And then I know that the dancing got out of hand so much that they had to fine them for doing it so shitty. Anyway, what I do know also about football is that the best thing they could possibly do is to find their coach as quickly as possible, who's most likely wearing a thin white polo, and just douse him in ice cold water for an impromptu wet t-shirt contest. You know what I'm talking about? Like, we did good. We want to see those nipples, coach. That's what I'm talking about. Now again, if you didn't know football, it does sound like two things. One, it sounds like a really shitty episode on Animal Planet, because like the Panthers versus the Bengals, that makes sense. But Bears versus the Dolphins, I'm pretty sure the Dolphins are gonna fucking die. You know what I mean? Or gay cosplay, right? It's like Cowboys versus the Vikings. Alright, I'm gonna dress up as a cowboy, and I want you to dress up as a Viking. And I want you to get down real low. Nice and low, just stare at me. Don't worry about that guy in the Foot Locker t-shirt. Look at me. Look at me. Where are you going? Where are you going? Where are you going? When he blows, I want you to push against me. And I'm going to push so hard against you. Now. Alright, and then that whole time you're watching all this hardcore gay porn, every commercial break they want to let you know that this whole sports moment is brought to you by Cox. Alright. Goes without saying, we get it. Cox is everywhere. It's understood. We want to spread it even further. I understand. Now look, maybe football is not manly and heterosexual enough for you. Maybe you need to experience it more deeply. Well, luckily, in the privacy of your own home, you can play fantasy football. Fuck yes. Do you play fantasy football?
I do.
Oh, you're gonna love this. Take a seat, we'll wait for you. And he's wearing, what is that? A who versus who?
It's Tulane versus USC.
So Tulane and some Trojans?
Yes.
Nice. Okay, it's good that the football players are protected. Anyway, you like fantasy football? What you've missed is the similarities between hardcore gay porn and football. I'm purposely doing this double dick thing. Okay. So fantasy football. Now, if you want to enjoy fantasy football, you have to know so much more about those men. How tall is he? How much does he weigh? What's his favorite position? Like, I know he experimented in college, tried a few things, but what did he settle on? By the way, while I'm waging a third of my rent money on this guy, I'm wearing his shirt. I'm wearing his shirt, it still smells like him. And I know everything about this guy, what high school he went to, what college he went to, every single fucking team he got traded to. Meanwhile, my wife is like, you don't remember our anniversary! You know. Not me, football, guys. Fantasy football. So that's September, right? I'm not a big fan. But I think that has to be more enjoyable than what I've experiencing, which is like hardcore rejection from women. Look, I get it. I'm short. Okay? This whole thing of like, if you're not 6 feet or taller, don't bother responding. It's like, okay, like at the age of 7, you're like, I just become accustomed to a certain way of life, and I like to walk with my shoulder popped out. You know what I mean? Ladies, I don't understand the logistics, right? Like, let's say you're 5'5" and he's 6'2". Sex is you just dodging armpit and nipple hair the entire fucking time. Being like, is this good for you? Could you just call or text me or something and let me know? This way, you want this? I don't understand. It's height and eye color. Like, you guys have a bunch of underutilized shelving. You're like, is he verbally abusive? Yes. Does he take money from my purse? Most likely. But, look at these fucking pots right here. You know what I'm saying? Like, first time I moved into the apartment, 14-foot ceilings, what am I going to do? And then I met Jack. He's so much better. My biggest issue, actually, is because I don't drink. So let me just give you guys a little bit of backstory. There's no fucking backstory. But when I tell people I don't drink, they always assume that there's a story. That either me or my mom or my dad had some horrible drinking problem. There's no story. I just don't like the taste of alcohol, and I'm that douche. Like, you have to pour me fucking apple cider at your wedding. Anyway, I also don't eat mayonnaise. That's because my dad beat the fuck out of me with a mayonnaise jar. And my sisters. No, he didn't do it to them. They just joined in a lot. But then they became plastic jars, and I feel like that was a little bit better. And then he would throw packets, you know, and they would cut my face. It's not true. My dad didn't eat me mayonnaise jar. But I don't eat mayonnaise. And even with the trauma, my friends are never like, hey man, I might go to some places that serve mayonnaise. Is that weird for you? I might have a little bit of mayonnaise. Not going crazy like last weekend. No one ever does that. But here's the problem. Being at a bar or a club, anywhere that serves alcohol, when you don't drink, is like being at a playground and you don't have any kids, right? Like, what you're doing is legal and perfectly innocent, but you're gonna make people really uncomfortable. Just sitting at a park and they're like, oh, kids are so cute, aren't they? Yeah, they sure are. Which one's yours? None of them. I just like the wind going through their hair. Is that, who are you calling? Who are you calling? I'll leave, no problem. So true story, I'm in South Florida. I moved here from South Florida. Yeah, I'm not gay, I'm from Miami. We all look like this. Anyway, it's legally required to dress this way. Shirts that fit, shoes, all that good stuff. All right, anyway, so I'm at a club and conversation's going well, and so well, she goes to order another drink for herself and a drink for me. And she's like, well, what are you drinking? I'm like, Red Bull. She's like, oh, Red Bull and what? I'm like, ice? So she tells the bartender, like, this whole thing, like, fuck the drink. I need to talk to this guy for a second. Puts her hand on my thigh. I'm like, all right, we're going to round 2. Let's do this. And this is exactly what she said, okay? A lot of comics come up here and say all this kind of stuff. This is what happened. Puts her hand on my thigh. I'm very excited. Not noticeably, but internally, definitely. Anyway, and she says, look, it's not my place to tell you how to live your life, but I don't think being near a bar is the best thing for someone who obviously has a drinking problem. And even though you are cute and I am enjoying this conversation, I have made promises to my friends and my family that I'm not going to put them through this ever again. So if you'll excuse me, I'm just going to go ahead and walk away. And as she walks away, I'm like, you thought I was cute? Like, just start with that next time. I'll get a drinking problem. I'll figure it out for you. We'll solve all this. We'll come back here in 10 years. I feel like I've made every alcoholic football enthusiast very uncomfortable tonight. My apologies. This is all just me trying to combat the fact that I have issues with relationships. Probably because I'm bad at communication. It's okay, like for instance, we live in a society where if you tell your friends, I'm attracted to big girls, everyone cheers you, thinks that's super cool. But then if you're the dumbass who says, well, I actually prefer little girls, no one talks to you anymore, they don't answer your fucking calls. Should have went short, should have went petite, could have said anything, but they heard little and now they don't answer your calls. Not me, one of my friends, for sure, definitely not me. It's a challenging time. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, like the whole thing about like body count. Do you guys know this phrase, body count? Okay, so nobody's keeping me up on these fucking terms, right? So I'm on a date, and the girl's like, why are you guys so obsessed with body count? I'm like, I don't care. Like, you're pretty, you're fun, you're ambitious. Why do I give a shit how many men you've killed? Like, it's New Orleans, it was obviously in self-defense. And you had no idea how powerful that taser was. Like, what are you talking about here? But it's weird, right? And then, like, they don't even say, like, they're not interested or anything. Like, this, like, ghosting. Like, ghosting has become so common. This is New Orleans, it's a haunted city. But when people ask me, do you believe in ghosts? My response is, no, I'm sure she's just busy with work. You know what I mean? Like, she has a dog, a lot of demands, I'm sure she'll get back to me. But this whole ghosting thing has become so common. I think I want to just go ahead and have a show called Ghost Hunters. Ghost Hunters. We don't look for supernatural beings. We just go to local bars trying to find out why Stacey hasn't called John back in 4 days. And we expose the ghost by opening their text messaging app to show that they read the message. Just say you're not interested. It's always like really, really difficult with relationships. Spoiler alert, my ex, right? So communication, like I said, isn't my strong point. And so she told me flat out that the only way that she would ever give me roadhead ever again is if I drove. And I was just like, doesn't seem like as much fun. And then she was into stalking, but luckily, what with her license being suspended, we didn't have to worry about that anymore. And then another girl said she wanted to be treated like a Disney princess. Now, growing up in South Florida, I know all about Disney. Orlando's a few hours away. So she says, I want to be treated like a Disney princess, and I respond, look, I do like you a lot, but not enough to kill both of your parents. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen enough movies. I know how it goes. If you want the crown, you have to sacrifice a few people. But then, like, it gets further, right? So, like, even in the bedroom, right? First and foremost, ladies, public service announcement. Could you stop doing that thing in bed where you're like, deeper, deeper? It's a dick. Not like the Star Wars franchise, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, did you think you saw all the episodes of Dick? We're rolling out new shows of extra dick. There's a tattoo halfway down my dick that says to be continued. Most women never even notice. Did you want extra dick? Hold on. Like, I just have all this extra leftover dick from last year. I would never have sex with a girl and be like, shallower. I want to hit a wall. Does it ever end? How many kids have you had? Do you even call them? I wouldn't do that. Because that's rude. So ladies, in case you don't know, when you say deeper, what my therapist tells me I hear is, you're not good enough. You're not good enough. I'm going to cheat on you with a black dude. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying. Maybe, I don't know. Also, be careful what you say. How much time is that? Oh, wow. Damn. Shit. Be careful what you say in the bedroom. What you say isn't what they hear. So I'm laying in bed with my lady, and she whispers to me, she says, I want you to make me feel violated. So I did what I thought any man would do in that situation. I tie her hands to the headboard. I tie her feet to the footboard. I put a gag in her mouth. And then I looked through her cell phone. Obviously. And And she was like, I felt very successful, you know? But what I learned in my studies of her text thread is she meant something else entirely, which Greg knew and I fucking didn't. She was into some like 50 Shades of Grey kind of shit, which was confusing for me, because I always thought that 50 Shades of Grey was like porn for the elderly. You guys get it, right? Because every time my Nana would come out like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, just like fucking soaking wet. I'm like, Nana, I think you like spilled your drink on your lap. She's like, no, baby. No. Grandma needed that. Grandma needed that. You guys have been great. Thank you so much.
Christopher Anthony, everyone. Christopher.